worms. Yeah, sorry I haven't been around much. I've had to cope with the cat being sick. You can follow his antics on Pablo Brat Cat. He's currently going through chemotherapy. I had a load of things I wanted to do this year, and I've got a sinus infection. It's making me very, very tired, which is why I haven't been posting a lot on here. And I wanted to go and do singing, and I wanted to go and do drama, and I'm so tired. It's just like, you know, somebody's put a, not a COVID mask, somebody's put a bit of plastic over your face and you can't breathe, and it's disgusting. And I don't really feel like doing anything particularly creative, although I am kind of thinking that I might learn to do a bit more editing. I've done a bit of gardening, but the antibiotics I'm on to clear my sinuses have made me sensitive to the sun, so I can't really go out and do as much gardening as I want either, which is really annoying because it's been absolutely gorgeous here. So really, really sunny and nice and everything. Sorry, so yeah, I am very nasal and very tired. You can see I've not had much sleep. Just when I think I'm going to get some sleep, it starts getting light again about 5:30 in the morning, which is not very helpful, but there you go. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is being ADHD and really needing good feedback. It's not great if you happen to be in the, I was going to say profession, it's not really a profession, is it a profession? I don't know, but the thing that I got qualified in, which was fine art, I really need people to like my stuff, and for a while it was great. Over COVID, you know, I didn't apply for any shows because there wasn't any shows to apply for, and now I have applied for some and haven't heard anything back, which is a bit disappointing, especially since one of them was one of the ones before COVID that I did really well in, and I think that, you know, people have just forgotten. You know, it's 2 years. It's been 2 years now, and all the networking that I did and I had worked really, really hard to do is now all gone to shit. So anyway, I had someone come round the other day, and he doesn't work on my property, and he's bought quite a few of my paintings in the past, and we were outside and drinking tea and stuff like that, and he said, are you still painting and stuff? I said, nah, not really. It's not just COVID, even before then, I lost the will. Like I said, I need positive feedback, and I can't. There are a lot of artists and painters who pour their heart and soul into something, but I find it really difficult to do that because I either get a negative reaction or no reaction at all, and it sounds pathetic, but I really need a positive reaction. It's just the way I am. Maybe it's because of the way I was being brought up with no positive reactions, or I had mixed messages growing up, because it was either like they said I was brilliant and then they said I was wasting my time. They said my art was really good, and then they said go and concentrate on maths and English. They said why don't you go to art college, and then they said why, you know, you need to go out and get a job. So you know, I had a quite hard upbringing ever since I was little, but this in you know, my adolescent years was really, really confusing, to be honest. And so it sounds pathetic, but I'm 51 and I still don't know what I want to do. I really would love it if just someone came along and said, this is what you're good at. And this is what I miss about being at art school, because they say, yeah, you're good at this, but you're not so good at that, or, you know, this is... And I was under the impression that I could do something that people would notice and things like that. I don't know if I mentioned this in another video, but my earliest experiences at art school is one of my tutors saying that you should go to Goldsmiths, and anyone who knows anything about contemporary art in England knows that Goldsmiths is, you know, it's a big deal. Back when I was, excuse me, I was really bunged up, I was miserable. Back when I was doing my foundation, is about the time that, you know, not Britpop, but a kind of Brit art thing took off. And if I'd have put myself forward then, or if I'd have just come into a bit earlier, you know, I could have been something, and my tutor at Croydon College reckons I could have been something. But I went to Goldsmiths on a, you know, it's one of those things that when you do an HND, you go and look at other art colleges to find out where you want to go. And I got this feeling that it was a bit what do you call it? It was insincere, let's put it that way. And so, yeah, and it was like, you know, my tutor said, well, you could have gone, done this, you could have made something of yourself. And what he didn't know is when I wrote my thesis, I wrote it completely to bullshit him and the invigilators, or, you know, assessment people, or whatever it is. I just wrote shit that I knew would get me good grades, but I didn't really believe it. So I'd looked at contemporary art, I'd gone to museums and art shows and things, so I wrote what I thought they wanted to see. And it got me a good grade. Wasn't really into it. So I went to Camberwell, my tutor at Croydon said, oh, you know, at Camberwell, it's all sort of like artsy crafts, and it's sort of, you know, it's not contemporary, it's not, you know, it's out of the loop and that, you know, it's a bit soft. And I thought, well, that's what I want, really, you know, so I don't want to be sort of hassled and bullied, and, you know, because I was bullied when I was a kid, so I just didn't want to get through that anymore. And it was hard enough, like, doing my my foundation. I would have really felt bullied, and I wouldn't have bullied anymore, thank you very much. So, yeah, it was a soft option, and in a way, maybe I should have gone to Goldsmiths and been pushed a bit more, but because when I went to Camberwell, and I had these crazy ideas, and they didn't really get them. But they did say, well, you could go and do a master's, and I said, oh, don't be daft. It's like in my 30s, I was like, I can't do a master's, and they said, yeah, you'd be really good, you're really good. And I said, no, I want to do a PGDIP, which is a postgraduate diploma, not master's. I said, no, go for a master's, So I put myself for a master's, and I applied to different places, and one of them, I got several offers actually, which is kind of flattering, I guess. One was a master's in printmaking in Wimbledon, which I wish I had done now, because I think it would have been a lot more practical and maybe useful. But no, I did fine arts in Brighton. Now, this is one of the places, this is one of the journeys that takes you into academia, and anything academia a lot of the times is no good in the real world, and they can build you up and build you up and build you up and make you feel brilliant, and then when you leave you've got nothing, because even if you want to go into a job that's got, you know, they want graduates and that, what can you do when you've gone through art school? There really isn't a lot, you know. It also depends on your personality as well. And I was so kind of out of the box that I was out of the box, and a lot of companies want you to think out of the box, but they don't want you to think so far out of the box you're in a different continent. So well, without my mental health problems and everything else, when I finished my MA, and still to the life of it, I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, I've got one more assignment to do or something, I've missed something. And, you know, I've got imposter theory even now, and this was 2010, that I went to a bloody postgraduate, you know, procession with my mum and my sister, and I still don't think I've got it. I still have to check. I still have to look back and say, did I really get this? Did I really get this? Because I guess because I haven't done anything, you know, I haven't done anything progressive in my academic or artistic career since then. I still can't really believe that I did it. Anyway, so I went to the graduation, post-graduation, I guess, ceremony, my MA ceremony, in 2010, and I remember actually driving to Brighton from my house, and I turned on the radio, and David Bowie's "We Could Be Heroes" came on, and I was crying because I thought about me and my fellow students and how this is going to be the day that we could be heroes. It just made me cry. But for what? You know, we were heroes just for one day. Anyway, so even before I went to art school, I was painting. It was something that I used to do. But I don't do it anymore. When I was studying, it kind of took the joy out of it, because it was everything you do is going to get criticised. And then, in a weird sort of twist, they kind of tell you that you are brilliant. So you leave university, art school, thinking that you're brilliant and that, you know, everything's going to work out for you. One of the worst things I could have done was to move in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't exactly my fault. I went through a really bad period of depression at the end of 2012, and sorry, not the end of 2012, the end of 2011. I just didn't have the fight in me. So we ended up moving to the middle of nowhere. And when I came here, I had a culture shock. And even now, we're talking nearly 10 years later, there still isn't an appreciation for contemporary art, but there are one or two people who have integrated themselves somehow because of their personality and their communication skills and their connections and that, which I don't have, because I've got autism and ADHD, and I didn't have any contacts coming down here. I don't know how to make contacts coming down here, and I still don't know how to make contacts because I don't know how to connect with people. So yeah, there was already people down here that had a foot in the door, and I tried to sort of collaborate with them, and they were like, "No, mate, we're not interested. You know, you're not from the forest. You don't have, you know, an insight into the forest. You don't, you know, you're an outsider. You don't belong here. You know, you're not part of our cultural heritage or whatever it is." And I must admit, I didn't like this area, and I wanted to try and fall in love with it. I really did, but I didn't come here out of choice. I got wrenched. Sometimes I like to describe myself as a London diaspora, because a lot of people move out of the southeast because it's just cheaper to live somewhere else. But it wasn't my choice. It was my husband's choice. He wanted a big house. I wanted lots of land and stuff like that. I wouldn't have cared if I'd lived in a fucking bungalow or a flat or anything like that, as long as I had contacts. But like I said, I had depression, so I just kind of went on with what people wanted. So yeah, I moved down here, and And then I got involved in a local museum thing, and the boss who recruited me, first of all was volunteer and then I was facilitator, and this I'm still doing that, not really moved on from 2013. So it makes me laugh actually, because people on YouTube saying, oh, the good old days of 2016, and I'm like, fuck me, for me that wasn't even that long ago. But yeah, I guess it was a long time ago. It's depressing really. I just think that the whole world's moved on and I'm just stuck here. Anyway, so my boss was, you know, she liked my stuff and she liked my artwork, and she gave me a paid facilitator's position. And her husband is a builder, and he came round and helped me build my studio, which is, you know, it was an old crumbling feed shed or something down the bottom of the garden. And he sort of did it up so that I had, you know, it was a nice place to be in. It wasn't cold or damp or anything like that. Some extra room, and built a, you know, well, it was supposed to have insulated the roof, and didn't quite fit it properly, but never mind. It was dry, and you know, and it was warm, and you know, it had a nice flat floor, and you know, it was just a little bit more conducive to working in. And then we had a chat and that, and in a weird kind of like going back to 17th century Paris, I might have mentioned this before. He really liked my paintings, and I thought, well, this is interesting, because like builders aren't really known for their cultural sensitivities, and my paintings were kind of weird, abstract and things like that. But we came to kind of like an agreement where I would give my paintings in part payment for the work that they was doing. So in effect, I was getting paid for my art, and I'm really, really chuffed about that. And this is the same guy that is working on my land now, and who's asking whether I was still still painting or not. So, but the thing is that I was told by his wife, who's my boss, that they bought so many of my paintings now they hadn't even got any room for any anymore. So that was my only client. I might have sold like one or two in other art shows in other cities, but I had to go up there and, you know, juried art shows and things like that. But round here, nobody was really interested in what I had. And not only were my paintings weird, but also I'm weird, and so I couldn't communicate very well. So it wasn't like I was like a cut and dry businesswoman like a lot of people around here are. There are people who do mosaics, there are people who sell pottery, and there's even some artists who paint, you know, kind of like figures sort of spiritually and stuff like that, and they've got such a brilliant business sense. You know, they've got confidence in what they do. They've got, excuse me, grumbling. They go out and they can do, you know, they can just, you know, I've been to open houses, art shows and that, and they've got like racks with prints on, and I'm thinking, when I've tried to pay for prints of my work, A, they don't look very good because my abstract paintings just don't work well on prints, and B, it just turns out to be like not cost effective for me, because I have to pay for all this merch, as it will, product or whatever it is, and it just doesn't sell, so I end up being even more out of pocket. So when this guy came along the other day and said, are you still painting? I said, no, not really. And he kind of looked at me, it's like, why? And I said, well, because I've got enough paintings here. And that was it, really. I just don't paint anymore. I've only done one painting in the last 12 months, and that was because I was really interested in zoom imagery and I saw a picture on the BBC News website of Boris Johnson and all these other heads of state and that in the site of a Zoom picture, which is all these squares, you know, with faces and flags and paraphernalia. And I thought, well, this is really interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, this is what democracy is kind of like been reduced to. It's a, you know, a bunch of squares on a video screen. So I did that, but I didn't finish it. I just haven't got the confidence, and I haven't got the enthusiasm. In fact, I've still got the tubes of oil paint out in the garden from last summer, where I was going to finish it, and I never did. So that's why I stopped painting. And now I don't really know what to do with myself, because that was the thing that I was gung-ho about, and then it kind of got ripped away from me. And I don't really know what to do about that. Did it get ripped away from me, or did I just not have the self-discipline and the I don't know. It's so hard. Anyway, this is it. And if any of you guys are interested, I might paint. I might show some paintings that I've done. I've put them online before, and nobody's interested because they're not anime and they're not trendy. But maybe somebody somewhere. It's like an unrequited love. It's like writing love letters to someone who doesn't even know you exist. I try not to feel sorry for myself, but having invested all this money and all this time into something that I thought was going to work out, I've been an idiot. I think it's probably a thing for younger people to do, because when you do it when you're older, you're just going to get left out of the zeitgeist, and every time you try and get back in the zeitgeist, it's exhausting and you look like an idiot, and you know, you can never catch up. It's always catch up. So anyway, I that's why I stopped painting, and I might start maybe again soon somehow if the tide turns culturally. You never know. Yeah, I always thought that my painting was never really liked anyway, until I got into art college, and then suddenly I got this full sense of self-importance, I guess, and this sort of shot in the arm of egotism. And then a lot of people, that shot in the arm is enough to keep them going and going, but for me it wasn't, because for me, I need other people to bounce things off of, and I don't know where to go from here. I thought that before lockdown, I thought, well, maybe I might go back to art college or something like that, or maybe go and do something like graphic design or filmmaking or something that's more relevant. But if I was young and blonde and influencer, I expect people would be buying my paintings like they're going out of fashion. And sorry, I'll sound really bitter, but I like I said, I have put years and years and years into this. It started off as a hobby, and then it got out of hand. And I wish it had just stayed a hobby, because it would have saved me a lot of heartache. I want to give, if I was going to give any advice to anybody, there are people who say go for your goals. I don't believe that. I think you need to be really pragmatic and say, is what you're going to do really going to be accepted by society? Because if it isn't, don't bother. You'll just give yourself a lot of heartache and a lot of expense. Just post stuff on DeviantArt. Don't bother going to art college. Just post stuff on. One thing I've learned over the last few years, you get a lot more clout and a lot more money just drawing anime and posting it on DeviantArt. You know, there's people who make fucking loads of money doing that. And if only I'd known that at the time. But I'm an old fart, so what did I know? Just wasted my time. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. But that's my advice to any up-and-coming artist is have a look around. If you can see another way of doing it without going to art school, do it. It's a fucking waste of time. It really is, especially now when, you know, the world is your oyster. You know, you've got Instagram, you've got DeviantArt, you've got YouTube. I follow loads of artists on YouTube. And if I'd had the opportunity to do that then, 2010, I would have done it. I just had no idea. You know, I could have built up a following. But then again, even if I had built up a following, I'm an old fart, so nobody would follow me anyway. I suppose I could have had an avatar. Maybe. Pretended to be somebody younger. But then somebody would find me out and probably I'd get cancelled for being an old perv or something like that. So there really wasn't any way I could win. And I do think that as years go on, art is either for the old and established or the young and trendy, and I just don't know where I fit in. I don't know where I fit in. And I miss it. I'd love to be able to paint and think that I'm not only doing it for me, but I'm doing it for somebody who likes it. It sounds terrible, but I want somebody to like it. I can't just do it for me anymore. I've got so many paintings taking up so much room. I can't do it for me anymore. It's an indulgence that I can't afford to do. I actually feel disgusted with the amount of paintings that I've got in storage. It just feels disgusting and self-indulgent and wasteful. Especially, you know, when people talk about the environment. They talk about all these materials that you use. So I just feel disgusted. Disgusted with myself. And a waste of time. A waste of resources. So hopefully I'm going to learn how to do digital art and animation, things like that. That I've always, like the last few years, I always wanted to do that. And I might get a new PC. The other half has offered to help me pay for a new PC, which I feel disgusted about as well, because why should I, you know, just because I'm married to someone doesn't mean to say they have to pay for my stuff. But I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn from younger people. I've got, you know, I'd like to think that I don't have that much big of an ego that I'm not willing to learn off younger people. So if there are any tips you can give me down below that I can break into art in a more accessible and profitable way, I would really appreciate that. I don't want to leave this on a downer. I just wanted to explain how it was and how it is and why I don't do painting anymore. If you've gone this far, please leave a cat emoji down below, because I'm still struggling with Dom's chemo and cancer and things, and I'm just sitting here with the daylight now. I was going to set up lamps and things, but I'm so tired, and honestly it's so hard. And like I said, there's part of me that thinks, why put the F in if people aren't interested? It sounds really pathetic, but I need that. I do. Well, everyone who posts something on YouTube or any social media wants that. They want feedback. That's one thing I miss from going to art school. So I'm only saying what a lot of people have inside them, you know, saying their thing out loud. Anyway, bye worms, and take care of yourselves. Have a nice spring. That's all I've got to say really. Bye.